housing study. We found that the need for the goals from this housing assessment is to establish housing priorities to meet current needs, supporting housing preservation, marketing the city to change its image and promote development, and investment opportunities, as well as developing a regional approach to addressing local housing issues, and also mitigating renter and homebuyer challenges and barriers through education and assistance. So yes, that's, like I said, those are things that we kind of analyzed and took into account when we were starting to develop the kind of questions that we were going to ask these stakeholders. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jerry for a more detailed explanation of our analysis.
Thanks, Carlos. So like Carlos went over, we had some really great conversations when we were on the ground in Austin, getting tours and talking with residents and others who are involved in development and various decisions in terms of growth and development in the city. And we pulled together kind of we call a SWOT analysis of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges. I won't read everything that's on the screen, but we can share these slides with you. This is all detailed in the memo that we delivered to you all, and you should have a copy. If you don't, you'll get one shortly after this meeting. We want to just go over a couple of highlights before we get to our recommendations. So Austin has a very high occupancy rate. I'm sure you're all well aware of that, and has some really wonderful strengths, the school system and some recreational areas. But there is very limited opportunities to build multifamily housing. So while that's a goal for the city, it's also a challenge to make that a reality when the parcels are so limited as far as locations to make that multifamily housing a reality. We also looked at some opportunities and threats in our analysis, and we have them here. Some really exciting projects going on in the community. The solar field development that I heard one of the motions was related to, looking at a new city hall and potential for community gathering space. That's all really exciting stuff that the community is making happen, and I know many of you are part of that. But a real threat to the success is that there just aren't enough homes to rent or to buy. People want to live in Austin, and there's just not enough supply of housing and enough housing options to allow them to do that. So, based on that analysis of the strengths, opportunities, challenges, and threats, we also heard a lot of priorities and developed this list. Again, this is in the memo, so no need to read every word on the screen, but wanted to provide a snapshot of the priorities we heard from stakeholders, from city leadership, and from others on the ground when we visited. And really the number one thing was more housing, high quality housing, senior housing options, different types of housing, as well as some more retail and services, which would support a larger population if there were more housing options in Austin. So that's a snapshot of kind of what we heard, how we would organize it into strengths and opportunities, as well as challenges and the priorities that we heard. And based on all of that, we developed a set of recommendations. Again, much more detail provided in the memo, but wanted to give a snapshot here. So our 3 recommendations are as follows. 1 is to expand staffing and programmatic capacity to support the RDC's activities and also to connect with regional housing organizations to try and get some more support as far as building more housing and supporting housing growth. 2 is to adopt a mixed-use zoning designation and update the zoning map, and that's specifically to support more development on Main Street. We heard the desire to have a little bit more of a Main Street feel, almost like a small downtown or community core, and we think that Main Street definitely has the capacity to be that for the community. And then finally, create a community engagement plan around housing and placemaking to share the goals and vision of increasing those housing options and keeping Austin strong. So, like I said in the memo, it goes into a bit more detail about each of these recommendations, and we're really excited to be able to continue working with you all to help make some of these things happen. We've organized a few options, and Carlos is going to go over a few ways that we can help make some of these things a reality or make progress towards them.
Great, thank you, Jerry. We move our screen so y'all can see me. So yes, in developing the previous recommendations, we understand the capacity issue with the city of Austin. That's one of the reasons that the small city was selected, because we want to show that we can still work with smaller rural communities, and that we kind of use Austin as an example of how to provide TA to these other communities. So we decided to come up with an offer for continued engagement. So this goes beyond the recommendations. Now, the period of performance for this grant ends in March. So really, these three options would be provided by March as we close out the end of this grant period. One thing we discussed is to provide resources to support newly elected official training and introduction to city operations. So this could include like an informational packet, kind of like a zoning guide, one-on-one for newly elected officials to understand the work up to this point that the city of Austin has done to increase housing options, as well as the Bowen study and then our analysis through this project. The second component to that could be assembling funding options to pursue additional capacity. Now again, this project does end through March, and we're not able to guarantee that any of these funding options would be provided, but at the very least, we can assemble them and then share them with you so that we can leave you with the tools to pursue them as needed and based on your needs. And finally, we would provide a draft GIS file and map with a suggested zoning change. So that could include, a new model ordinance definition of mixed-use zoning, and then also, tying that into the zoning ordinance, as well as providing a draft GIS file that will designate those parcels as mixed use, so that hopefully those mixed uses can be leveraged to offer additional housing and retail uses in the future.
So we also wanted to answer any questions you might have, and again, I know I've referenced the memo a few times, but all this is detailed in the memo that you all have access to or will shortly have access to, but wanted to take a moment to hear any questions or concerns based on the information we've shared from the room.
So basically what we got here, Carlos and Jerry, is we've got some council members that's not been do with anything that's going on. So this is the first time they've seen anything on this program.
I'm so sorry, I was having trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what I was saying was to you and Jerry and to Mike will know that we have some turnover, we've had some change in council members. And we have some here that have never been into anything that's been going on. I know we've been doing this since last summer. But this is all new to them, so this is something they have to soak in, get in tune with before they can wrap their arms around it. And I know it's going to require a lot of zoning changes, and we talked about that for several months, or ever since I've been in council, years, and that comes with a cost. So that's our concern, is the cost of redoing the zoning ordinances.
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've talked around the number of 6 figures to redo the zoning ordinance.
Yes.
So that's our issue.
And how, Carlos and Jerry, how have you all seen communities, small communities like Austin work through that? Or is there additional funding sources through assistance with HUD or other aspects that could help to look at that? I think I'm thinking of, wow, there is like money to the CA, under rural development, also under the housing program. Look into that. But I didn't know if you all were aware of any or not.
Yeah, and see, full transparency, that's kind of, I want to call it the roadblock that we're running into, but, we've been told very clearly that the end of this project ends in March. And so, additional funding, there are opportunities, we just can't guarantee it through this grant. That was, part of the reason why we like to assemble these funding options to share that with the city so that, we can't guarantee, like I said, that those funding dollars would be granted, but at least we can put something together to share with you, and at least kind of provide the tools or the know-how to pursue those funding, and that way, based on Austin's need, that could possibly lead to additional capacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where I was, I know we got a short time. You have to deliver deliverable related to this grant per se, but then we could open up another and to continue related to that if we could find the other sources or some combination thereof.
Right, and just to clarify, it wouldn't be a continuation of this project, it would just be a continuation of your efforts, up to this point.
And then the third suggestion was to assemble kind of some suggested zoning changes to give you something to base that work off of. You're not starting from zero. You know, we were on site, we saw some, you know, areas and some opportunities, so hopefully giving you all some, a draft file and, potentially some, template language could help you down that road. And, you know, give you a jumping off point.
We're definitely open to funding options and suggestions as well. If you can give us some funding options, email me some or the clerk treasurer. We present that and any of the council members have any questions. You know that some of you don't know what's going on, so any questions, now's the time to ask.
And I have forwarded all the reports and et cetera. I think, Melissa has all of them, so, electronically, so if we make it available, so you know, it's looking forward to it. But from the beginning to now. But, this has been a very interesting thing that goes along with your housing study you know, a couple of years ago to this, which then, and then it is on and it will continue. It's very good. So I see this as value to try to not just cut and paste other people's zoning issues and et cetera, but be more, more custom to what your needs are there in your market. And, zoning's always one of the key components of it.
And I would like to add to, we mentioned providing resources to support newly elected officials. If it's, two newly elected officials, it's not a whole board, we can easily set up a one-on-one call, just to kind of relay, this information, about how we got to this point, this project, just kind of have that call about, more information about this project and like we said, the work that goes into it. Because ultimately we didn't want to leave, we don't want to just leave Austin with our memo and just say bye. We want to ensure that you all have the resources to carry it out. So again, going back to training elected officials and then assembling those funding options. So hopefully those things can get carried out in the future.
Let me say I do appreciate the fact that HUD has selected Austin for the help and some information. We need to go further with it and what the options are. You, Jerry, I thank you as well, and Mike, for your time that you put into it. I know we've had several meetings open. I know you've done a lot of people within the city. We appreciate it. And we all know that we're in our need of upgrade on city zoning ordinance. So anything that you can ship us, send us to get this thing on the ground, we'd love to get started.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you all, and look forward to any questions or follow-up.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Everyone. And Mike.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Hey, we're under that 100 hour 30 minutes.
Thank goodness.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move right into that. Numbers that we can reach out to them, they can contact you as well.
I did see Mike had sent that, I think to Melissa, the information packet. So I'll get that. If you don't have it, I just saw it on the email and I opened that up. I was looking, Mike had sent it to Melissa and I'll see if I can get her send that out to you, okay?
Well,
They were going to email us the funding or grant options.
what I asked for. That's the way they handle it. Without some options and funding, Josh and Chris and I have talked about this several times, we know that our need, it's just cost.
Yes.
And hard to come up with.
Yep.
We'll move on, and we'll do the, get into the minutes anyway.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Claims January 9th, 2024, February 12th, 2024. Questions, additions, corrections? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Handle the ordinance resolution.
Old business, let's go into old business. Old business. Thanks.
I don't have any.
No.
So hearing none, we'll move into the new business. New business, we do have some, and it's over the job.
Yeah, no, all right, so you got the first item is the ordinance approving lease and bond. So this will be for first reading only, then we'll have published an opportunity for public hearing. All you guys probably know at this point, you can approve there's certain situations where you cannot approve an ordinance on first reading. When we're entering into lease and bonds, that is one of the those situations. So this would require further readings and a different date later on. So this is in connection with the solar project behind the sewer plant that will help put the sewer plant onto solar power, reduce electric costs, allow us to make other improvements at the electric plant. So, if there's any questions, otherwise, entertain a motion to approve it on first reading only.
Is this holding us up from like the closing?
This one of the, as far as my understanding, Josh, I think this is one of the final steps where we're getting.
It's not holding it up. This is just a step in the process.
Yeah, I'm just saying if there's a first reading today and we can't do the second until next month.
That's just the law, man. That's fine. We know that. That's factored into the timeline.
Okay.
That we're going to have a public hearing.
I didn't know if it was holding us up if we could do a second reading at a special meeting.
By
At a
law.
special meeting,
Well, it's really close with publication requirements.
Okay.
It's not. It doesn't really. We might at a later date need a special meeting, but not before the second time we get there. Right.
With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-01.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We got Council Resolution 2024 R3 is the release of the bid packages. The ones that the president, advised for the building corporation. This is one of the steps that as a part of the procurement process for the USDA loan. There's different components to a photo array. Solar plant and some concrete landscaping, but actually the installation of the photo arrays themselves. So it's authorizing the city engineer to move forward with soliciting those bids, and then we'll see what we get. We'll come back for approval of those bids, or at least the opening, and we'll see what we get at the later meeting.
This is the same resolution just approved by the building corp. With that, I entertain a motion. Resolution 2024 R-03.
I'll make it.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So one more. Council Resolution 2024-R-4 is authorizing the easement agreement. You heard the dialogue earlier. This is, if you picture your line of sewer plant, the public roadway goes right into the sewer plant. This parcel sets back behind the plant. There's a parcel to the east that is owned by Redevelopment Commission, and there's a fence road. Basically, this would be granting an easement access along that fence road. Obviously, we'll have to get vehicles back and forth into the area to install the photo and have, or the solar plant and have access, maintain, etc. So this is an easement agreement with the building corporation, who's the owner of that parcel, granting an easement access for that. Also a requirement of the USDA. They loan money, they like when it's tied to a property, they like that property to have public access. So we're giving that property public
With that, I will entertain a motion to approve resolution number 2024-04. Resolution authorizing grant of easement and entry into the easement agreement. Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
access. Give me this, and I'll get that. I think that is just the easement agreement, not the resolution policy.
You must stand.
That will need your stamp. I'll call you out.
Okay.
That's all the new business I had before we got some new business.
One thing I would, go, I sat on the front row, you mentioned earlier, you thought you got a new member for the building court.
Thank you.
Might as well go ahead and get council approval for that, appointment, and, I will, I'll email you the certificate of appointment right now. You can sign it and, have him sign it. And you get council's blessing, and we will fill out our building book.
Just heard what we gotta do.
What if we want to turn them down, Josh?
Other people lining up.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, you know how many people we have to chase down to get to do.
So,
I'll make the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Mr. Wright, you are now officially accepted by the council. Now fun begins. I hope. Good job. Thank you for helping us out.
All right, I just sent that.
I think I can track them down to get them signed. Josh, you. Okay, that's fine. Okay, no
I'll
problem.
call you.
Just ask. Sir.
Fine.
We'll all seem to go first move. Appreciate your attendance. Appreciate any new business before we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Awesome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.